Hana's body shudders and shakes as if she's about to have a seizure, until her visage ripples and changes. Golden yellow hair is slowly stained with inky black, and her face melts into that of the woman, the maid from before, with a menacing expression on her face. Along with it is the shifting of the very ground we stand on. It's a slow thing, a whisper more than a bang, as the darkness creeps into every corner of the room. The walls shudder and groan, blood runs from the ceiling, crawls down the walls and stains the floor. It feels as if life itself has been sucked from the house, slowly but surely. The beauty of the place is gone, with only the dead, decaying remains of a mansion left in its wake. I don't have to wonder if it's just the foyer that's become this nightmarish place. I can already hear it. Gone are the growling of thunder and lashings of rain and wind against the foyer's high windows. All of it has been replaced with a more grating sound. A cacophony of voices from nowhere and everywhere, echoing throughout the now horrid walls. Voice that neither belongs to us nor the people who live here.
What's going on?
Help! Please!
All throughout the house, shouts of alarm and surprise ring out, a mirror to the horror creeping up in each of us. Who wouldn't be shocked? This is insane. Even Daisy, feisty woman that she is, trembles at the sight of it, clinging desperately to Lily and Steele, who stands protectively in front of the two. I suppose it only makes sense for the man to take that role when their friend is gone. Something to hold on to when there seems to be no end in sight to this insanity. If anything, this only feels like it's the beginning. Of the end.
Help me! Oh my god! Please, somebody! Anybody! Who are you? Stay away!
No. Stay away. Stay away.
Mother of God, pray for us sinners.
I'm sorry.
Their screams fill the mansion. She laughs all the while, a harsh, agonizing sound that goes on for what feels like forever. Until there is nothing but silence, her horrid smile and pale hands reaching out to me. Calling, beckoning, pleading. I'm terrified, I really am, like I should be. But I've never been one to stay truly afraid. I've long learned that fear will never get me anywhere. Cowering in a corner doesn't keep me safe, and it will not keep me alive. Not like rage does. I've learned to use this burning hate inside of me to survive. There is no difference now.
Stay away from me!
Why do you wish to leave? This is where you belong, my lord. Remember the blood you shed. The very same one that now taints this house, along with many others.
I did not do this! You lie! I did nothing!
What of her then? Your wife, your sunshine. Doesn't her blood already stain these halls? Stain your hands?
Then, Hana's really? You're the one who... You killed her. Your own wife!
She's lying!
The words sound so familiar. Just a few days ago I spouted the same ones to that vile woman who ruined everything. If it weren't for that munter, that harlot. But it's no use. A seed has already been planted in their heads. Defending myself, especially against the likes of him, is pointless. Bloody hell, even Daisy's now looking at me with the same revolting stare people have given me once they know of my death.
So it's true then? With Hana? Hana, Luke?
I don't know what she's talking about. Are you that gullible, Daisy? Do you really believe the words of a murderer? She killed your friend over there.
Now you deny it. Pointing fingers, aren't we? You see, my love. No difference. No difference, you and I. Just like the rest of us. Just like every single soul in this putrid wreck. We've waited for so long. You can hear them, yes. Their pleas, their calls, their invitation. Come, my lord. The house seeks its master.
She, the monster, reaches out again, her hands a gory, abhorrent sight, along with that smile spread across her face. My body's already moving on instinct, stumbling back, one step at a time in a desperate bid to be away from her. Anything to put distance between me and this vile creature. No matter what she says, I'm nothing like her. I need to get out of this house. Out of this country, preferably. There's nothing for me here, not anymore. Nothing to keep me tied to this place. With Hana gone, Shrock and likely taken by this woman as well, nothing left to bind me to this wretched city. I can leave, My foot steps on something, sending me sliding on my back and flat on the floor. Beside me, a paper, familiar one, flutters down. It's this thing again from the open house. Though it feels less like a gimmick and more like a threat, with recent events. It must have fallen from the detective in the commotion earlier. and with its owner having died a gruesome death, now it simply bears its equally grisly message for everyone in the room to see. Help me. Help me. Help me. Is this it? What they've been telling us? Why everything in life has gone to shit? Because of some stupid old letter? An invitation indeed. One I'm not willing to accept. Not any time. From the top of the stairs, the creature now moves again, drawing my attention back to her. Her gait remains slow and awkward as she walks forward, that smile never leaving her, but I won't give her the chance. I'm not dying here. Adrenaline kicks in, and despite panicked gasps and worried glances from Daisy's friends, I pay them no mind as I reach for the main door, and without warning, the door slams open, revealing not the mansion grounds like I'm expecting. Before my mind can even comprehend what's happening, black tendrils have already coiled tightly around my limbs, dragging every person in the foyer into the room. None of us even get to scream when darkness completely envelops us upon the doors closing.
Understand where your place is now, my love. You belong here. Is it so difficult to grasp? We've been waiting.
There's a moment of panic when the feeling of tendrils around my limbs finally dissipates. As soon as my eyes adjust to the darkness of the room and I'm on my feet, I'm reaching for my knife and holding it out, watching, waiting for every movement, using it as a way to put distance between me and these peasants. Who knows what they'll do to me, now that they know what I've done. There's only 4 of us in this room, 3 of them friends at that, and only me. I cannot trust these people not to turn on me. I cannot trust anyone. Not anymore. Not after this. Despite the pleading looks Lily shoots my way while they all huddle in the corner behind steel, I have to remind myself that even people like her are capable of doing the unpleasant. She's only human after all. It's never an excuse. Why, even Hana has her cunning, manipulative moments, though she does it much subtler than I. Why else would Lily show this letter to us that day if not to save herself? I guess that backfired on her now that she and her friends are also stuck here. Still, I have every right to be livid. Everything I've built has fallen apart. My wife, my children, all because these people came into our lives.
You 3, all of you, this is all your fault. If I'm dying to this bloody case, I'm taking you all down with me.
Hey now, Mr. Wright. I know the situation ain't good, but we have to calm down. We're all in the same boat here.
You shut your mouth. If it weren't for you, for this letter, for all of you, none of this would have happened. Hana would still be
dead? Hidden? Suddenly, Daisy steps up and slaps the knife away from my hand.
Don't you dare, Luke! Don't you dare put that blame on us!
Without batting an eye, glaring at me, as if she might rip my head off at this instant, said knife slides uselessly under the table out of my reach. I should have expected she's not the kind to submit even under threat. For all the black man's height right now, all of us appear smaller facing her anger.
Last I checked, we're not the one whose hands have been stained with his wife's own blood.
And what about your friend over there? Are you saying she is responsible for this mess? For the lives this sorry girl took? Dragging other people into her own problems just so she could save her little sorry self? You think I haven't seen that before? Getting real tired of your double standards, Daisy.
You know this curse is an entirely different issue from what you've done, Luke. Because, knowing you, I don't doubt that even without that blasted letter, you would have eventually—
Rebecca, stop! All of you stop this!
To hear Lily speak out loud, I can't say I'm not surprised. She's always given me the impression of someone so meek from the moment I met her, either from her inexperience or her station in life. She's never struck me as someone fitting to be a real estate agent. If anything, that meltdown she had during the open house had only proven my assumptions. Until now. Quietly, she puts herself between me and Daisy, cutting whatever scathing words we've yet to hurl at each other. The way she glares at me, it reminds me a little of the way my mum would look at me, particularly when I've done something wrong. And it's not a stare she's unused to showing. She's done this before, probably to a younger sibling. Huh. If only she's seen the pair of us, if she's only sees us as a pair of squabbling kids and not 2 mature adults, well, that's only to be expected. No doubt that's how she sees us. For a long moment, there's only silence in the room. Steele, the big oaf, doesn't even dare break it, merely watching the 3 of us behind 2 women, who he towers over significantly. Too soft. Not that it matters when Lily starts speaking again, after some of the anger and tension is lifted from the room.
Stop this, please! With or without that damn piece of paper,
A deep breath, an exhale, and then she closes her eyes, a crease forming between her eyebrows while she grips her hand tightly in front of her.
We still would have ended up in this mess.
The atmosphere that descends in the room right after that admission is anything but pleasant. Can I call it that, an admission? It seems like it from the way her eyes nervously flick between her friends and I. She appears to know more than she lets on, and how she makes herself appear smaller after dropping that bomb on us doesn't sit quite well with me. And patience is something I don't have the luxury of having right now, and bestowing on other people. What else does this girl know? What else is she not telling us? Because in the looks of it, even her friends have no idea what she's talking about. Unwilling to wait, I grab her arm before she retreats without explanation, waving the letter still in my hand in front of her.
Ow! Sir, you're hurting me!
Luke, will you stop taking it out on every single person?
Your friend is hiding something, Daisy.
She struggles for a moment, but my hold eventually forces her to look up at me. Fear and uncertainty spread across her features, especially when her eyes land on the damn paper. As much as I want to be considerate right now, I want answers.
What do you mean, Lily?
I'm not sure about it.
Don't give me that, you know something!
Ow! Please, sir. I know the paper's useless, okay? Those people they mentioned in the news lately, all those who died, my co-workers, the open house clients, none of them had seen it. Even Rose. And yet they're all dead. I should know, sir. That letter has been with me since I picked it up. And I swear I didn't make copies of this thing. Even if I wanted to save myself, I wouldn't do that to my friends. Or anyone.
And yet we're all here! Are you taking me for a fool, Lily?
We would have ended up here either way. Maybe? I really don't know. Sir, please. All I know is that paper isn't the reason why all of this is happening. There's something else that...
This place.
Steele has been quiet this entire time, though the sound of him talking, however whispered it is, still manages to catch us off guard. We all pause, turning to him with likely the same question in our eyes.
What?
I just remembered something a friend told me. You know, stuff about ghosts or curses. You probably don't want to hear it.
No, it might be something. What about this place, Zach? Maybe it's also the reason why Ash went here.
There's still a moment of hesitation in him, but the mention of their dead friend appears enough reason to spur him into speaking.
Remember what I told you the last time you and Ash visited? A few days ago?
A pause while he allows Lily to remember. Soon enough, whatever it is dawns in her, and her face lights up with something like hope? Of all things, in this nightmare, hope. Her head snaps up and she reaches for Steele's arm to give it a squeeze. A reassurance or a confirmation? The meaning is lost even to Daisy, who glances at them, baffled.
Belle, what are you...
Becca, it's this place. Think about it.
Then they proceed to tell some ridiculous narrative about the supernatural. Stories about ghosts, legends, curses born out of great anger and pain, or whatever else people use to scare children. Not that I believe any of it, as if knowing will help. Bunch of loons, these people, officially off their rockers. To think I'm stuck in this nightmare with people like them. What did I ever do to the world? You really want me to tell you? Of course, it's all absurd until...
I think it's just like what the professor guy said. Just like that old story. This mansion and some other thing might be keeping her here. You know, something he wanted in life, but never got to have. Something like that.
Or maybe it's not something, Zachary.
Someone. The who doesn't have to be uttered out loud. There's only one person in this room who knows who that woman calls after. Every single one of them has heard it. Bloody hell, it's in the reluctant shift in Daisy's eyes when they flicker over to me, though only briefly. She's also holding information on her own, or perhaps a realization she just had. Doesn't matter. I know when people have slowly started to turn on me. How do they think I lasted this long in this cutthroat world? Betray them before they do the same to you. Put a knife in their back before they can act. Kill or be killed. Survival in a nutshell. Why'd they think I put Hannah out of the picture before she can cry for help and ruin everything? What now? Are they going to throw me at that creature? See what happens to save themselves? I'm no fool.
No. You're all in on this, aren't you? Of course! Of fucking course!
Luke, that isn't what I...
My hands are already on the door, pushing it open before she finishes. Betrayal or not, this isn't anything new. They may not be thinking it right now, but eventually, trapped in this nightmare, the best thing to do is put a distance between us before a plan even hatches in their minds. There's 3 of them, only one of me. I have to get out of here find an exit to this place, or a way to get rid of each of them. But karma, the damn thing, seems to be at work here. Because when the door swings open and I barrel into the next room, there's only a reminder of the blood I've shed. Of her. Of them.
You don't have to do this. You can still have it all, Luke. Just please. Don't you love me?
It's not only his sobs I hear, but his, hers, theirs. I'll never know, will I? What kind of life would I have lived with them? If I ever will be a father better than my own. But I suppose I have my answer now. I killed them after all. It's their blood that stains my hand and this room.
It would have been so beautiful.
By my own doing, I've ended all of it, even before anything has begun. Now their blood drips from every wall, pooling at every inch of the floor, leaving a sorry mess at the hem of my pants with every step I take into the room. Like the cold, suffocating embrace of my sins, the dread from the sight creeps up my limbs. Slow and unhurried, twisting and turning, up and up it goes until nothing but a sharp guttural cry escapes my mouth and a realization. It hits me like a gut punch, sending my knees buckling and the rest of me sprawling. Behind me, Daisy shouts, a worried cry, running into the room and placing a comforting hand on my shoulder. Following after her, Lily and Steele, lingering by the doorway to that room. Hana's little nursery, or at least it's supposed to be one until things in this place have gone haywire. I can't even bring myself to look at it.
Are you alright? You vampot. Don't just run off like that. We don't know what's going on in this house.
But the sharp timbre always present in her tone pales in comparison to every voice ringing in my ears, along with Hana and the distinct cry of babies somewhere. How many people have died here, I wonder? How many of them are still trapped in here? Because it isn't just that creature's murmurs and pleas that I hear. It isn't just my wife's or the life that she carried in her, but hundreds, thousands of them. Not that it matters now, when I know I've also doomed Hana and my own children to this nightmare. Somehow out of everything, it's the thought of them trapped in here that sets me on edge, sends my stomach churning and bile rising up my throat. Then slowly I laugh. I also laughed back then, didn't I? The moment my eyes had seen what was to be of that room. Days later, Shrocken asked if I'm happy, that bastard. I suppose I have a clear answer now. There's no happiness in this. Despite the chuckles and giggles spilling forth, there's only a hollow void.
I don't deserve them, Daisy!
No. Yes, that is true.
Any of them!
And there's only one way to fix this. Alright, this is it. The final decision. Go. Leave. Only one way to correct a mistake. Mistake. Is it even one? Is this what I want for myself? To have everything? Money, power, hell, even women? Don't I have that freedom now and so much more? I married her for this. This has always been the plan, had things not been derailed. To get rid of the dad, marry the starry-eyed heiress, acquire the company, and then make her disappear. Make it appear like a terrible accident. Clean. Efficient. Yet somehow it feels wrong to use that word. I loved her, didn't I? This is a sin, more like. Perhaps one that deserves an equal punishment of death, a life for a life sort of deal. Payment for the countless other lives I've also ruined and ended to get where I am. There used to be the satisfaction in this, in getting what I want. Now I only feel remorse.
This is going to get me, no matter what I do, isn't it?
Luke, we can't stay here. We have to find a way out. We have to.
Go.
What? What are you talking about?
You heard me, Daisy. Go. Leave. Have you also gone deaf now?
Sir, is this about what we said? Forget about that. We're not leaving anyone here. Ash wouldn't want that.
As if I give a damn shite about him, he still pisses me off. If anything, he should be the one thanking me. I'm saving his friends. I suppose I should make a note of that. Something to keep in mind in case we're ever going to meet in the afterlife. I doubt it. He's probably not going to hell like you are. Provided we end up in the same place, yeah. The crap I've done, I'll likely end up in the 7th circle of hell. Funny how easy it is to think of the things with your death looming over you. Or maybe it's simply because I'm getting old. Well, not that old, but it certainly feels like it. I've done a lot of shitty stuff in my lifetime. So maybe this one time, I might as well do some good. Pushing myself off the floor is a struggle on its own. More from the metaphorical weight on my shoulders than the pain in my limbs or this headache. There's no backing out now, I suppose. Even if Daisy still doesn't quite understand what I mean, there she sits, looking up at me, with nothing but worry. I wonder if in a different lifetime, we could have become friends. Had I been born into a more decent family, or Damien Wright took me away from the slums before I'd learned how to use a knife.
Daisy, do fetch me one final drink, would you? There's a stash in that dresser beside you.
A stash? Like a moustache. She quietly hands me one as I've requested, but only after a look of protest flickers across her face. I look at anywhere but her, fixating on the colourful glass bottle she just handed over to me, before I pop open the cork and take a swig. Or rather a huge chug of the stuff. There's some delight when I feel a delightful burn in the back of my throat and realise that this isn't the exactly wine that I've had in my hand. Whiskey. How quaint, how fitting. This explains where the rest of the alcohol is.
This isn't the time for some booze, Luke. We're still stuck in this bloody nightmare. A little sense of self-preservation from you would be really nice.
Such a nag. Though I don't think Hannah would appreciate me drinking in our room either, or at all if she has anything to say about it. Probably say something scathing and witty like, you might as well shoot yourself in the liver, Lucille. Really now. Well, she could just tell me about it once we see each other again. Again, you're not going to see her either.
You, Steele, isn't it? Make sure your friends make it out of this place in one piece. It shouldn't be too hard for you, right?
Wait, what about you?
For all the weakness he displays, at least this man knows the right questions to ask. And that's exactly when it dawns on Daisy, her concern quickly melting into an expression of utter horror. Any other day I would have laughed loudly at that. To think she cares, I'm almost touched.
What are you... Don't be ridiculous, you ball bag!
You're kidding, right? Look, Wright. Mr. Wright. There must be some other way.
This isn't going to solve anything, you numpty! You're just giving her what she...
That's a hilarious word to use right now.
Daisy, Rebecca, do me a favor and watch over Kylie for me. The Rugrat shouldn't be allowed more than one glass of parfait a day. Her father spoils her too much.
Why don't you do that yourself? I'm not her godparent, you are!
I have to stifle the giggles that threaten to spill uncontrollably. I'm not yet drunk, but I might as well be. Losing my mind, maybe.
I'm afraid I won't be able to. You're going to have to apologize to her for me as well. You see, Daisy, where I'm going, there's no coming back from.
A smile. Then I'm dousing the whole room with the remaining liquor before a word escapes their mouths. They can only watch. I tell they don't approve of this, but what can they do? It's my house, I can do whatever I want with it. And it doesn't take too long for Steele to catch on. He's seen the ugly side of me more than anyone here. There's still reluctance in him, of course. The man remains soft, even for the people who have openly hated him. A hesitation in him, even as he's pulling the two women away from the room, quickly ushering them through the doors that should lead them to the hallway.
Luke, we can't...
Go on, Daisy. There's nothing left for you here.
A long moment of silence, of conflict and pain flashing fleetingly across her face. We never did get along much, Daisy and I. Though right now I'd like to think that she has come to care for a rotten bloke like me the way that she might do for another friend. Unable to meet my eyes, perhaps out of some uncalled for guilt, she simply reaches out for both my arms and gives it a light squeeze. And then in a voice so low and whispered.
This is what you want.
Not a question, merely a statement. A fact, one that deserves an equal honesty. Funny, I've never been the honest sort.
Yes.
I'm sorry. We're sorry.
The look on Daisy's face before Steele closes the door behind them. Odd. There's no other word for it. It's the same one my own mum has given me, along with the same words. A gift I considered them back then. I never understood the use for it. It's not like she didn't take care of me like a mother should. Eleanor Chandler did more than that. But seeing a strikingly similar expression on Daisy, I understand it now. It was not her misgivings as a mother. It's for all the what-ifs, could-haves and should-haves. Things that'll never be because it's far too late.
I'm sorry, too.
Under the room's low light, the amber liquid gleams tauntingly where it has landed. On the floor, on the bed, on the walls, on every dresser its splatter has reached. It's brighter, of course, when set alight, but I don't wait for it to spread. If I'm to die here, this place also has to go. Burned to the ground with every sin and horror it hides. I suppose this is the closest I'm going to get to atonement. Without a single glance back, I take the rest of my liquor stash from the dresser with me, and heading inside the door to Hannah's nursery. It opens to the study before, Though with how fucked up this place is, I'm not entirely sure what to find next. One thing's certain.
Anyone, help me. Help us. Luke, please. Our children.
Somewhere in this house she waits. I allow her voice to lead me, following her cries and pleas as I go and douse each room I pass with alcohol and set it ablaze. Not a comforting thing to hear, but certainly a better sound than an agonized wail. Amidst the gore and the horror, it is the closest thing I can cling to, including the stray thoughts that have somehow chosen to surface. Short bursts of memories I've always been fond of, more than I care to admit, either out of fear or
How
embarrassment.
about Botany Bay, Luke? In Kent? It's gorgeous there.
I don't know, Buttercup. Don't you think it's a little too far from here? Remember, I still have a company to manage.
Well, it won't always be that way, yes? And maybe we can also get a dog.
I suppose.
So, someday?
Someday, Buttercup. Someday.
In truth, a half-hearted response, spoken out of ignorance or some sort of complacency over the kind of life I assumed we'll have. Or I'll have. She was never meant to live past the second year of marriage. She has no idea how tempting those paltry dreams of hers now. A little house by the beach, a dog, our children, her, and the vast expanse of the sea before us. She was right. We would have been so beautiful. But as the whole of this place smoulders, so do those. When I run out of liquor, I simply drop the bottle and take another one off the many nooks I've stashed one. And there's no lack of it in here. The hard stuff. The shorts, the watered down kind. Gifts from distant relatives. Friends, so-called friends. You name it, I've made sure there's always one within reach. Hannah has called me out on this numerous times before, telling me I have a problem. I've always told her she doesn't know the half of it, before completely dismissing her concerns.
Don't worry, what? That woman.
Right now, however, I'll give everything to hear her say that again, if only for the last time. With each room I pass and burn, the place becomes easier to navigate, as if it's slowly righting itself, returning to what it's supposed to be. Soon I find myself standing before the door to the attic. From the bedroom nearby, the strong odour of burning wood, cloth and varnish alike wafts from under the door, slowly filling the hall with a thick black smoke. Hopefully Steele is able to get his friends out of here before it's too late. The blaze has already started in earnest in every part of the house. I can already feel the heat seeping through the rooms I've set aflame. In a matter of minutes, flames will engulf the entire house. But there's one more place left. Upstairs, where her cries echo from. My feet fall hard and heavy against the old steps, a steep rickety thing that should have been fixed during renovation. I suppose it's only fitting that this is where I make this march. Trapped on the highest point of this place as the rest of the world burns to the ground with me. A final fall. To death. To her. For some reason, nothing about this scares me, no matter how much I've dreaded this kind of end in the past. There's only a calm, a stillness, the same hush that comes after a terrible storm has swept the countryside. Even as I open the door, I'm greeted not by Hannah's warm embrace, but her cold, chilling smile. But the reality of this, the terror, doesn't take hold and sink until my knees hit the floor and I hear a whisper in my ear. In a voice so familiar yet different, reverberating inside my head, in soft murmurs and sighs while her arms come from behind and rest across my chest.
You came home to us.
I guess hoping to see Hannah here is already asking for too much. Perhaps something I don't deserve even in death. Yet tears flow freely from my eyes despite the disappointment. Nothing but lightness and air and the feeling of finally being released from shackles that have scraped me raw. Because at the end of the road is her, and I think this is it. This is how I die. A gradual descent to the abyss as everything around us goes up in flames. Behind me the window blows out from the heat. But above the piercing sound of shattering glass is the rustling of trees against a light breeze. A passing draft that carries even into this room from outside, cold enough to make me shiver, strong enough to fan the flames further. In the distance I can hear the soft chirping of birds while the rest of the world stirs, wakes. Ever so slowly, darkness gives way to the warm morning hues. The soft rays of the morning sun altogether spilling in the window, stirring a distant memory. Of a laughter and a tender voice I long to hear one last time.
I did not do it for you.
Dawn at last, and she is free. Ooh, memory fragment. Like I said, we'll have to go over those later. Like the flames that engulfed the mansion that night, whispers quickly spread across Luxbourne City after the incident. Officers who investigated have deemed the tragedy of the Ermengarde mansion an accident, an unfortunate outcome of long-rumoured domestic dispute between Luke and Hannah Wright, killing innocent lives. But for those who still believe in the stories of the old and those who know the truth, it is but a testament to the curse and the secrets of the Ermengarde mansion has hidden for centuries. If there will come a time, those will finally be revealed. Only the ashes of the now ruined mansion know. However, on nights when the wind howls and thunder booms across the sky, some still claim hearing of voices where it once stood, of cries and wails that fill the nights and desperate calls of help for anyone who dares listen. As for those who remain, Zachary Steele decides to give the movie industry another try a year after. This time he brings a film that tells of a harrowing experience under the shadow of the Ermengarde mansion's curse. With help from Rebecca Gales and Isabella Santos on production, he is able to bring it to life 2 years later. But unlike his first foray into the indie scene, this one turns out to be a blockbuster hit, gaining him accolades from several award-winning bodies. Although the film has brought him considerable success and opportunities, Zachary claims that it'll be the last film he'll be making, remarking that he merely wishes to tell the tale. A decision he has yet to change his mind on, much to his fans' disappointment. After the clamour for the movie has died down, he quietly returns to his freelance photography business, living a simple life in the same old apartment away from the spotlight. All the same, he dedicates the film's success in honour of an unnamed friend. Determined to disclose the truth, Rebecca Gales writes a book detailing Luxbourne City's true history. With help from Professor Andrew Clark, she pieces together every omitted information from current accounts, Charlotte Ermengarde's role in the city's foundation, and the truth behind the very woman who built it. This, in spite of the professor's stern warnings against bringing those to light, Charlotte Ermengarde has always been revered by the people of Luxbourne, after all. And sure enough, upon publication it creates a huge stir. Although considered a masterpiece by some, even becoming a bestseller, it's also met with harsh criticism from Luxbourne's academic circles. Others believe it to be an attack to the city's way of life, outright condemning it. It doesn't take long for it to reach controversial status, and mere months after its release, the book becomes the subject of litigation. As a result, it has since been withdrawn from the shelves by its publisher. To date, Rebecca continues the effort to bring it back to market, knowing its worth, a war that she seems to be winning in time. Doing it not for herself, but for the memory of a dear friend, whom the book has been dedicated to. Months after the incident, Isabella Santos has finally found the courage to pursue what she truly wants. Having made enough to keep her family afloat for a few years, with their blessing, she quits her job at Bra Realty Corporation and takes a scholarship offered by the local university. Slowly she gains recognition both in the local and international art scene for her vivid depiction of death and suffering. Although continuously lauded for her talent, no one knows why she's chosen such a dark subject. She's kept mum about it through these years. Perhaps the closest answer the curious will get when she is asked is the slight shift of her eyes and the wistful look that crosses her face. A quiet glance towards a painting of a young man in her studio. Her best known work, and strangely, the only one from her collection with an honest portrayal of life from the ashes. And it's only during those short, candid moments that she ever smiles again. Although now busy with their new lives after the curse, Isabella Santos, Rebecca Gales and Zachary Steele remain close friends, a bond that has only grown tighter throughout the years. But even after so long, Ash and Frey's loss is still a grief all of them carry. And on the same day as what became known as the Ermengarde mansion tragedy to the public, they always make it a point to meet where he lies. Once a year when they exchange stories and talk like the way they all used to. A shadow of what they were before the tragedy. Their way of coping with the sorrow that still looms over them. Though they never speak of it, will never, each of them know that his death is a wound that may never heal. They can only carry on. And that's it, that's the true ending, is it? Excellent, excellent. Now I was thinking I'll go through and get all the deaths so that we can see all the memory fragments. I want to go through all the memory fragments. And maybe I'll bring the ending for a total death run. I don't know. But I'll need to do a total death run to get all the memory fragments anyway, so this won't be the last episode by any stretch of the imagination, but it is the last for the moment. I mean, there might be a new one tomorrow. We'll see. If there's an after credit sequence, I'll be back, but until then, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Thanks again for me, and I'll see you in the next one.
And every choice is a mistake. I lied to the Lord, I lied to myself, I lied to you and everyone I care, until there were no more lies to tell. Cowardice is easier than being brave, but at last I found the strength I lost to sing my love letter to you. 'Cause people can lie, but my lone heart beats true. It was a simple question, my answer came too late. And every time I said no, I wanted to say yes. They say speak your mind, tell the truth, but there is room for each regret. So many fears to overcome, so little time to conquer them. I lied to the Lord, I lied to myself, I lied to you and everyone I care, until there were no more lies to tell. Cowardice is easier than being brave, but at last I found the strength I lost to sing my love letter to you. 'Cause people can lie, but my lone heart beats true. The ghost of guilt and sorrow remembers who I am, and in the prison of my heart, I was my only slave. But in the depths of my cold soul, I'll leave the burden and despair. I'll fight for what's worth fighting for. Forget the fear, forget the rest. I lied to the Lord, I lied to myself, I lied to you and everyone I care, until there were no more lies to tell. Cowardice is easier than being brave, but at last I found the strength I lost to sing my love letter to you. 'Cause people can lie, but my lone heart beats true.